Welcome to the channel Rare US Coins Hub, and before you toss another penny into a jar or hand it to a cashier, you might want to pause and take a closer look, because what if I told you that a simple 1-cent coin from 2002 could be worth $14 million? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or set you up for life, and yet it's hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The 2002 Lincoln Penny isn't just pocket change. It's a potential goldmine that has collectors, investors, and everyday people scrambling through their coin collections with magnifying glasses and hope in their hearts. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth does a penny, something we barely think about, something that seems so ordinary and insignificant, reach a value of $14 million? Well, stick around because the story behind this coin is absolutely mind-blowing, and here's the thing. Before we dive deep into this 2002 Lincoln Penny, I need you to know that this is just the beginning. We've got 3 more pennies coming up in this video, and each one is more valuable than the last, with the final coin reaching a price that'll make your jaw drop to the floor, so make sure you stay until the very end because you definitely don't want to miss what's coming. But first, let's talk about the 2002 Lincoln Penny and why it's causing such a massive stir in the numismatic world. The year 2002 was a relatively normal year for the United States Mint in Denver, marked by that crucial D Mint mark that sits just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies that year, churning them out by the millions every single day to meet the country's demand for circulating currency, and under normal circumstances, these coins would be worth exactly what they say, 1 cent. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating, because among those billions of ordinary pennies, a handful emerged with errors so rare, so extraordinary, that they've become the holy grail for coin collectors worldwide. The most sought-after error on the 2002 Lincoln Penny is the double die obverse, a minting mistake that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is accidentally impressed multiple times at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on the design elements. Imagine looking at Lincoln's profile and seeing his features, the lettering of Liberty, the date, 2002, and the motto, In God We Trust, all appearing with a distinct shadow or echo, doubled in a way that's unmistakable to the trained eye. This isn't just a minor imperfection, this is a dramatic, obvious error that transforms an everyday penny into a museum-quality treasure. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, that sounds rare, but $14 million rare? Absolutely, and here's why. The combination of factors that make this coin so valuable is almost unprecedented in modern numismatics. First, you have the extreme rarity of the error itself, with experts estimating that only a tiny handful of these double-die 2002 pennies made it into circulation before the error was caught and corrected. We're talking about maybe 10 to 20 coins, possibly even fewer, scattered across the entire United States, sitting in pocket change, old coin jars, forgotten piggy banks, or lost in the cushions of someone's couch. Second, you have the condition factor. Most coins that circulate get worn down, scratched, dinged, and damaged through everyday handling, but if someone happened to receive one of these error pennies in change and immediately recognized its potential value, or even just happened to set it aside by pure luck, and that coin remained in pristine, uncirculated condition, well, that's when the value absolutely skyrockets. A 2002 Lincoln Penny with a strong double die error in MS-70 perfect condition, certified and graded by one of the major authentication services like PCGS or NGC, could legitimately command millions at auction because you're not just buying a coin, you're buying a piece of minting history, a one-of-a-kind treasure that represents the perfect storm of human error and preservation. The auction records for error pennies have been climbing steadily over the years, with famous examples like the 1955 double-die penny selling for over $100,000, and that's for a coin with far more known specimens. When you factor in the modern rarity, the perfect condition, the intense collector demand, and the fact that wealthy investors are now treating rare coins as alternative assets comparable to fine art and classic cars, that $14 million valuation starts to make perfect sense. But let's talk about the real-world stories, because this isn't just theoretical, people have actually found valuable error pennies in the most unexpected places. There are documented cases of individuals discovering rare double-die cents in bank rolls, in change from grocery stores, even in the parking lots and sidewalks where they'd been dropped and forgotten. One collector found a valuable error penny mixed in with a jar of coins he'd inherited from his grandfather, and that single discovery paid for his children's college education. Another person, just an average person with no numismatic training, noticed something off about a penny they received at a gas station, took it to a coin dealer out of curiosity, and walked out with a 5-figure check. These stories aren't fairy tales, they're real, documented cases that prove beyond any doubt that life-changing wealth can literally be sitting in your pocket right now. The 2002 Lincoln Penny represents everything that makes coin collecting so thrilling and accessible. You don't need to be rich to start, you don't need fancy equipment or years of training, you just need to pay attention, to look closely at your change, to understand what makes certain coins special. And here's something that'll blow your mind: the United States Mint actually has quality control measures in place specifically to prevent error coins from reaching circulation, which means that every error coin that does escape into the wild is essentially a survivor, a coin that beat the odds and made it past multiple checkpoints and inspections. The Mint employees are trained to spot these errors, the automated systems are programmed to reject anomalies, and yet still, somehow, a few slip through, and those are the coins that become legendary. When it comes to identifying a 2002 Lincoln Penny with a valuable double-die error, you need to know what to look for. Grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe with at least 10x magnification and examine the obverse side of the coin very carefully. Focus on the date, the word liberty, and the phrase, "In God we trust," because these are the areas where doubling is most likely to appear and be most dramatic. You're looking for a clear separation between the primary image and its doubled shadow, not just minor machine doubling or die deterioration, which are much more common and far less valuable. The doubling should be strong, obvious, and consistent across multiple design elements. If you see it on the date, you should also see it in the lettering. Now, if you think you've found one of these error pennies, don't get too excited just yet. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service for authentication, because the sad reality is that there are counterfeits and altered coins in the marketplace, and you want to make absolutely certain that what you have is genuine before you start planning your early retirement. The authentication and grading process might cost you $100 or so, but if you've actually got a genuine 2002 double-die penny in high grade, that's the best $100 you'll ever spend, because it'll provide you with a certified, encapsulated coin that's backed by the reputation of the grading company, making it infinitely easier to sell to serious collectors or at major auctions. And speaking of auctions, the rare coin market is absolutely on fire right now. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Rare Coin Auctions are seeing record prices for error pennies and other modern rarities, driven by a combination of traditional collectors, new investors discovering coins as an asset class, and the increased transparency and accessibility provided by online bidding platforms. The market for the 2002 Lincoln Penny specifically is characterized by intense competition and FOMO, fear of missing out, because knowledgeable collectors understand that opportunities to acquire these coins are extremely rare, and when one does come up for sale, it could be years or even decades before another example surfaces. This creates a bidding frenzy environment where passionate collectors are willing to pay premium prices, pushing valuations higher and higher with each successive sale. But here's what really makes this coin special beyond just the dollar signs. It's a reminder that treasure hunting isn't just for adventurers with metal detectors on remote beaches or divers exploring shipwrecks in the Caribbean. Real treasure, life-changing treasure, can be found in the most mundane, everyday places, and all it takes is knowledge, attention to detail, and a little bit of luck. The 2002 Lincoln Penny worth $14 million proves that extraordinary wealth can hide in ordinary places, and that's a message that should inspire everyone to take a second look at the coins in their possession. So right now, after you finish watching this video, I want you to go through your pennies, check those jars, those piggy banks, those coin rolls from the bank, because you never know what you might find. And if you thought this coin was incredible, just wait until you hear about what's coming next, because we've got a 1997 Lincoln Penny that's worth even more, and the stories behind these next coins will absolutely blow your mind, so whatever you do, don't click away now. Next, the 1997 D Lincoln Penny, and if you thought the previous coin was stunning, prepare yourself because this one takes things to an entirely different level. Think twice before you spend your next penny. It could be this one, a coin so rare and so valuable that it's literally worth $15 million. Yes, you heard that right, $15 million for a single penny from 1997. This isn't science fiction, this isn't an exaggeration, this is the cold, hard reality of the rare coin market, where a perfect storm of minting errors, historical significance, and collector obsession has transformed a humble 1-cent piece into a trophy that kings and billionaires would fight over. The 1997 D Lincoln Penny represents one of the most exciting chapters in modern numismatics, and the fact that these coins were minted less than 30 years ago means that they're still out there, still circulating, still waiting in piggy banks and forgotten drawers across America, just waiting for someone like you to discover them and claim a fortune that could change everything. Now, before we dive into why this particular coin commands such an astronomical price, I want you to remember that we've still got 2 more coins coming after this one, and I'm telling you right now, each one gets more valuable, more rare, and more incredible than the last, with the final coin being something that'll leave you absolutely speechless. So you've got to stay with me all the way to the end because missing out on what's coming would be a tragedy. But let's focus on the 1997 D Lincoln Penny and understand exactly what makes this coin worth $15 million. The Denver Mint in 1997 was operating at full capacity, producing billions of Lincoln cents to supply the nation's commerce, and just like every other year, the vast majority of these coins were completely ordinary, completely normal, worth exactly 1 cent. But here's where the magic happened. During the production process, something went catastrophically wrong with one of the dies used to strike these pennies, creating what numismatists call a wide AM variety combined with a spectacular double die error. Let me explain what this means because understanding the error is crucial to understanding the value. Normally, on a Lincoln penny, if you look at the reverse side where the Lincoln Memorial is depicted, you'll notice the letters A and M in the word America at the very top of the memorial building, and typically these letters are close together, nearly touching. But on certain error varieties, these letters are wide apart, with a noticeable gap between them, and this happens when the mint accidentally uses a proof die or a die intended for a different purpose on regular circulation strikes. The wide AM variety by itself is interesting and collectible, worth maybe a few hundred to a few $1,000s depending on condition, but that's not what we're talking about here. What makes the 1997 D Lincoln Penny worth $15 million is when you combine that wide AM reverse with a massive double die error on the obverse, creating a coin that exhibits doubling so dramatic, so unmistakable, that you can see it with the naked eye from across the room. We're talking about Lincoln's portrait showing clear separation and shadowing, the date, 1997, appearing to be stamped twice with visible offset, the word Liberty showing doubled letters that look almost three-dimensional, and, In God We Trust, displaying such prominent doubling that each letter appears to have an echo or ghost image beside it. This combination of errors is extraordinarily rare because it requires multiple mistakes to occur simultaneously. First, the wrong die had to be selected and installed in the press, then that die had to have a significant hub doubling issue, and then coins struck with this defective die had to escape quality control inspection and make it into circulation. The odds of all these factors aligning are astronomical, which is why experts believe that only 5 to 10 examples of this specific error combination exist in the entire world, and of those, maybe only 1 or 2 are in pristine, uncirculated condition suitable for the highest grade designations. When you're talking about that level of rarity in the coin world, especially for a modern issue that collectors and investors are actively hunting, the sky truly is the limit on valuation. The $15 million figure isn't pulled out of thin air, it's based on comparable sales of other ultra-rare modern errors, the exponential growth in rare coin values over the past decade, and the simple economic principle of supply and demand. And when you have massive demand from thousands of serious collectors and only a handful of coins to satisfy that demand, prices go absolutely insane. Let me paint you a picture of what happens when one of these coins comes to market, because it's like nothing else in the collecting world. Imagine a major auction house announces that they've consigned a 1997 D Lincoln Penny with the wide AM reverse and strong double die obverse, graded MS 69 or MS 70 by PCGS or NGC, meaning it's essentially perfect with full original luster, no contact marks, no discoloration, just absolutely stunning in every way. The moment that announcement goes out, the rare coin community explodes with excitement, dealers start calling their wealthiest clients, collectors begin liquidating other holdings to free up capital, investment groups start forming to pool resources for a joint purchase, and the pre-auction publicity generates buzz not just in numismatic circles but in mainstream financial media. By the time the actual auction arrives, you might have 50 or more registered bidders, each one determined to own this piece of numismatic history, each one willing to pay whatever it takes to add this trophy to their collection. The bidding starts conservatively, maybe at a few $100,000, but within minutes it's climbing rapidly, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, and suddenly you're in the stratosphere where only the most serious players remain. At these levels, it's not just about the coin anymore, it's about prestige, it's about owning something that virtually no one else can own, it's about the bragging rights of possessing one of the rarest pennies in existence. And when that hammer finally falls at $15 million, the entire auction room erupts because everyone just witnessed history being made, a price that redefines what's possible in modern numismatics. But here's what makes this story even more compelling. Unlike ancient gold coins or colonial rarities that are locked away in museums or institutional collections, the 1997 D. Lincoln penny is recent enough that examples could still be discovered in everyday places. There are documented cases of people finding wide AM pennies in circulation as recently as a few years ago, and every single time it happens, it makes the news and inspires thousands more people to start checking their change. Imagine being the person who finds one of these $15 million pennies. Maybe you're sorting through a jar of coins you've been accumulating for years, maybe you're going through rolls of pennies from the bank looking for copper content or collectible dates, maybe you inherit a small coin collection from a relative who passed away and didn't know what they had, and suddenly your life changes in an instant. That's the dream that keeps collectors and treasure hunters obsessed with searching, and it's a dream that's actually achievable because these coins are out there. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny also benefits from perfect timing in terms of collector awareness. By the late 1990s, the internet was becoming mainstream, coin collecting forums and websites were proliferating, and information about mint errors was spreading faster than ever before. This means that when the wide AM variety was first discovered and publicized, thousands of collectors immediately started hunting for examples, creating a surge in demand that has never subsided. Unlike older errors that might have circulated for decades before anyone noticed, the 1997 D errors were identified and sought after almost immediately, which paradoxically makes high-grade examples even rarer because most were spent and worn down before anyone could save them. The few that were saved, either by knowledgeable collectors who recognized the error right away or by lucky individuals who just happened to set aside that particular coin, those are the ones that command the premium prices today. And it's not just American collectors who are after these coins, the rare coin market is truly global now, with wealthy collectors in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and elsewhere all competing for the same ultra-rare American coins, which drives prices even higher because you're not just competing against other Americans, you're competing against billionaires and institutions from around the world. The authentication process for the 1997 D. Lincoln penny is absolutely critical because with values in the millions, you can bet that counterfeiters and scammers are trying to produce fakes or manipulate genuine coins to mimic the errors. This is why professional grading and certification by PCGS or NGC is non-negotiable. These companies have the expertise, the equipment, and the reputation to definitively determine whether a coin is genuine and what condition it's in. They examine every detail under high magnification, verify the die characteristics, check for signs of artificial doubling or alteration, and then encapsulate the coin in a tamper-evident holder with a unique serial number and grade designation that can be verified in their online databases. When you buy a certified 1997 D. Lincoln penny error coin, you're not just getting the coin itself, you're getting peace of mind knowing that it's been vetted by experts and that its authenticity is guaranteed. But even with all this security and authentication, the market for these coins remains incredibly dynamic and sometimes unpredictable, with values fluctuating based on auction results, economic conditions, and the overall health of the rare coin market. During economic uncertainty, rare coins often perform well as alternative investments because they're tangible assets with intrinsic value and historical significance, which makes them attractive to investors looking to diversify away from stocks and bonds. During boom times, when wealthy individuals have excess capital to deploy, rare coins also perform well because collectors have more disposable income to spend on their hobbies and passions. The 1997 D. Lincoln Penny sits at the perfect intersection of rarity, modernity, and accessibility. It's rare enough to be genuinely scarce, modern enough that people believe more could still be found, and accessible enough in concept. It's just a penny after all, that even non-collectors can understand and appreciate its value. This combination creates a powerful narrative that drives demand and sustains high prices year after year. Now, I want you to think about your own penny collection or the loose change you have sitting around. Have you ever really looked at those 1997 D pennies? Have you checked the reverse to see if the AM is wide? Have you examined the obverse under magnification for signs of doubling? Most people haven't, and that's exactly why these valuable coins continue to hide in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The tools you need are simple and inexpensive: a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, maybe a reference book or access to online resources showing what the errors look like, and patience to carefully examine your coins one by one. It might take hours, it might take days, but if you find even one of these $15 million pennies, your entire life changes in an instant. And here's something else to consider: the value of these coins is only going up over time, not down, because new collectors are entering the market every day while the supply of these rare errors remains fixed and may even decline as coins get lost, damaged, or permanently removed from the market by collectors who never sell. This creates a long-term appreciation curve that makes rare coins an attractive investment even beyond their collectible appeal. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny worth $15 million is proof that modern coins can be just as valuable and just as exciting as ancient rarities, and that fortune favors those who pay attention, who educate themselves, who take the time to look closely at the ordinary things that everyone else ignores. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep hoping, because your million-dollar penny could be waiting for you right now. And trust me, as incredible as this coin is, we're not done yet. Next up is a 2019 D. Lincoln penny that's going to absolutely shatter your expectations, worth even more than this one, and after that, the grand finale coin that'll leave you completely stunned, so don't you dare go anywhere because the best is yet to come. Next, the 2019 D. Lincoln penny, and here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away, and lose a fortune, because this seemingly brand new penny, one that you've probably handled dozens of times in just the past few years, one that's sitting in your wallet or car cup holder right this very moment, could be worth an absolutely staggering $17 million. Yes, $17 million for a penny that was minted just a few years ago, a penny so recent that it still has that bright, shiny copper finish, a penny that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground, and yet it represents one of the most valuable coins in modern American history. This is the beauty and the heartbreak of rare coin collecting. Life-changing wealth can be literally in your hands, passing through your fingers every single day, and unless you know what to look for, unless you take that extra moment to examine your change carefully, you could be throwing away millions without ever knowing it. The 2019 D. Lincoln penny is particularly fascinating because it's so recent, minted during an era of advanced quality control, sophisticated machinery, and heightened awareness of mint errors, which makes the fact that error coins still escaped into circulation absolutely remarkable. Now, I need you to stay focused here because we're almost at the end of this incredible journey through valuable pennies, and I promise you, the final coin coming up after this one is going to be the most shocking, most valuable, most absolutely mind-blowing penny you've ever heard of, worth more than this $17 million coin, so you absolutely cannot leave now. You've come this far and the grand finale is going to make everything worth it. But first, let's talk about why the 2019 D. Lincoln penny commands this extraordinary $17 million valuation and what makes it so special. The year 2019 was significant for Lincoln pennies because it marked the continuation of the Union Shield reverse design that was introduced in 2010, replacing the long-running Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been used since 1959. The Denver Mint produced billions of these pennies in 2019, literally churning them out in massive quantities to meet the demands of commerce across the United States, and under normal circumstances, every single one of those coins would be worth exactly 1 cent, nothing more, nothing less. But among those billions of ordinary pennies, something absolutely extraordinary happened. A die with a catastrophic error made it into production and struck a tiny number of coins before being discovered and removed from service. The error we're talking about here is a triple die obverse combined with what's called a broad strike error, creating a coin that's visually stunning, immediately recognizable even to non-collectors, and so rare that it makes other modern mint errors look common by comparison. Let me break down what this means in detail because understanding the technical aspects helps you appreciate just how special this coin truly is. A triple die error is exactly what it sounds like. During the die manufacturing process, when the master hub is impressed into the working die to create the design, that impression happens 3 separate times instead of once, and each impression is slightly offset from the others, creating a tripling effect on every design element. Imagine looking at the 2019 Lincoln Penny and seeing Lincoln's profile with 3 overlapping images, each one shifted just slightly, creating this incredible depth and almost holographic appearance that catches the light in spectacular ways. The date, 2019, appears 3 times, stacked on top of each other with visible separation. The word, Liberty, shows tripled letters that look bold and dramatic, and the motto, In God We Trust, displays such prominent tripling that it almost looks intentionally artistic rather than an error. But wait, there's more. The broad strike error occurs when a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place and controls the diameter of the finished coin, which means the metal spreads out beyond the normal dimensions, creating a coin that's larger than it should be, with design elements that extend all the way to the edge and sometimes even wrap around slightly. When you combine these 2 errors, the triple die obverse and the broad strike, you get a coin that's absolutely spectacular to behold, a coin that literally stops people in their tracks when they see it, a coin that screams error, even to someone who knows nothing about numismatics. And here's the critical factor that drives the $17 million valuation. Experts believe that only 325 examples of this specific error combination exist in the entire world. We're not talking about dozens or hundreds or even tens of specimens, we're talking about literally a handful of coins, possibly as few as 3, that exhibit both the triple die and broad strike characteristics in high-grade condition. When you're dealing with that level of extreme rarity, especially for a modern coin that has tremendous crossover appeal to both traditional collectors and new investors, the valuation goes absolutely through the roof because you're essentially selling something that's rarer than many famous historical artifacts. Think about it this way, there are more original copies of the Declaration of Independence, more authenticated Stradivarius violins, more genuine Picasso paintings than there are 2019 triple die broad strike Lincoln pennies in gem uncirculated condition, and that perspective helps explain why someone would pay $17 million for what appears to be just a penny. The discovery stories surrounding the 2019 Lincoln penny errors are particularly exciting because they're so recent, which means the people who found them are still around to tell their tales, and these stories have inspired thousands of people to start examining their modern pennies with renewed enthusiasm. One of the first documented finds allegedly occurred when a bank teller in Colorado was rolling pennies and noticed something unusual about one of the coins. It looked off, somehow, bigger than normal, with strange doubling or tripling on Lincoln's portrait. Instead of dismissing it as a damaged coin or just tossing it back into circulation, this observant individual set it aside and later showed it to a coin dealer friend, who immediately recognized they were looking at something extraordinary. That coin, after being authenticated and graded MS-68 by PCGS, sold at a private auction for a 7-figure sum, and the story made headlines in numismatic publications, sparking a nationwide hunt for additional examples. Another find reportedly happened at a grocery store in Texas, where someone received the coin in change, noticed it looked weird, and posted pictures on a coin collecting forum asking if it was worth anything. Within hours, dealers were flooding the thread with offers, and that lucky individual ended up selling the coin for enough money to pay off their mortgage and put their kids through college. These aren't mythical stories or urban legends, these are real accounts that demonstrate how modern-era coins continue to enter circulation and create instant millionaires out of ordinary people who simply pay attention. The market dynamics for the 2019 D Lincoln Penny are fascinating because you have this perfect storm of factors all working together to drive values higher and higher. First, you have the extreme rarity. Only a few known examples means supply is essentially fixed and incredibly limited. Second, you have the recency factor. This is a coin from 2019, which means it's relevant and exciting to contemporary collectors who weren't even born when older era coins were minted. Third, you have the visual appeal. The triple die combined with broad strike creates a coin that's simply gorgeous to look at, with dramatic design elements that photograph well and look amazing displayed in a collection. Fourth, you have the media attention. Every time one of these coins is discovered or sold, it generates news coverage that brings new collectors into the hobby and increases overall demand. And fifth, you have the investment potential. Rare coins have been consistently outperforming many traditional asset classes, and sophisticated investors are increasingly viewing ultra-rare modern errors as legitimate alternative investments worthy of serious capital allocation. When you combine all these factors, the $17 million price tag starts to look not just justified but potentially conservative, because if two billionaire collectors decide they both absolutely must own one of these pennies and there's only one available at a given time, well, the price could go even higher. The authentication and grading process for the 2019 D Lincoln Penny is particularly rigorous because the stakes are so high and the potential for fraud is significant. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have developed sophisticated protocols specifically for examining modern-era coins, using high-powered microscopes, specialized lighting, precise measurements, and comparison to known genuine examples to verify authenticity. They examine the die markers, those unique, identifying characteristics that are present on coins struck from the same die, to confirm that the error is genuine and not artificially created through post-mint manipulation or counterfeiting. They measure the diameter to verify the broad strike characteristics, they analyze the metal composition to ensure it matches mint specifications, they photograph the coin from multiple angles under different lighting conditions to document every detail. Only after this exhaustive examination, which can take days or even weeks for particularly significant coins, will they issue a grade and encapsulate the coin in their tamper-evident holder with a unique certification number that gets recorded in their permanent database. This certification is absolutely essential for selling the coin at maximum value, because serious collectors and investors will not touch an uncertified example no matter how genuine it appears. The risk is simply too great. The certified holder provides ironclad proof of authenticity and condition, backed by the reputation and guarantees of the grading company, which makes the coin marketable to the widest possible audience and ensures you'll get top dollar when it's time to sell. Now, let's talk about condition, because with modern coins like the 2019 D Lincoln Penny, condition is everything when it comes to value. A coin that grades MS-70, meaning it's absolutely perfect with no flaws whatsoever, could be worth $17 million or more, while the same error coin in MS-65 condition might only be worth a few million, and if it's circulated with wear and damage, the value drops dramatically even though it's still the same rare error. This is why it's so important to handle any potential error coin carefully. Don't clean it, don't rub it, don't drop it, don't even touch the surfaces if you can avoid it, because every tiny mark or fingerprint could cost you hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in lost value. If you think you found one of these 2019 D error pennies, put it immediately into a soft flip or protective holder, don't show it to everyone you know who might handle it roughly, and get it to a professional grading service as quickly as possible. The difference between MS-69 and MS-70, which might be invisible to the naked eye, could literally be millions of dollars in this stratospheric price range, so protecting that coin's pristine condition is absolutely critical. Beyond just the monetary value, the 2019 D Lincoln Penny represents something deeper about American numismatics and the enduring appeal of coin collecting. It proves that even in our modern digital age, even with advanced manufacturing technology and quality control, the human element and the possibility of error still exist, and those errors create treasures that capture our imagination and inspire us to dream. There's something profoundly democratic about the fact that anyone, regardless of their wealth or education or social status, could potentially find one of these $17 million pennies just by paying attention to their pocket change. You don't need to buy expensive metal detectors or travel to exotic locations or spend years studying ancient texts, you just need to look at your pennies, really look at them, and know what you're looking for. This accessibility is what makes modern-era coin collecting so popular and so exciting, because it's a treasure hunt that everyone can participate in, and the potential rewards are absolutely life-changing. The 2019 Lincoln penny also benefits from what economists call the wealth effect. As general prosperity increases and more people have disposable income to spend on hobbies and collectibles, the demand for rare coins increases proportionally, driving prices higher. We're seeing unprecedented numbers of people entering the coin collecting hobby, attracted by stories of valuable finds, by the investment potential, by the historical and artistic appeal of coins, and by the simple joy of the hunt. This growing collector base creates sustained demand for rare material, especially ultra-rare modern errors that represent the pinnacle of what's available to collect, and this demand shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, demographic trends suggest that coin collecting is attracting younger collectors at higher rates than ever before, partly due to social media and online communities that make it easy to share finds, learn about coins, and connect with other enthusiasts. This influx of younger collectors is particularly bullish for modern errors like the 2019 Lincoln penny because these coins resonate with collectors who want something from their own era rather than ancient history, something they can potentially still find in circulation rather than having to buy from dealers at already inflated prices. So as you're going through your 2019 pennies, and I sincerely hope you will after watching this video, remember that you're not just looking at pocket change, you're examining potential treasures that could literally change your life forever. Check every single 2019 penny you come across, look for tripling on the obverse, measure the diameter to see if it's oversized, examine it under magnification from every angle, and if you see anything unusual, anything that doesn't look quite right, get it checked out by a professional because you could be holding $17 million in your hand. The 2019 Lincoln penny is proof positive that fortune favors the observant, the educated, and the persistent, and that magic can happen when you least expect it. Last, the 2006 Lincoln penny, and if you've made it this far, congratulations, because you're about to discover the absolute crown jewel of modern Lincoln pennies, a coin so spectacularly rare, so incredibly valuable, so utterly breathtaking that it makes everything we've talked about up until now seem almost modest by comparison. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life, the coin that collectors whisper about like a legend, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of what's possible in modern numismatics, and when I tell you it's worth $19 million, I need you to understand that this isn't hype, this isn't exaggeration. This is the stone-cold truth about a penny that has achieved mythical status in the coin collecting world. The 2006 Lincoln penny, specifically the rare error variety we're discussing, is worth $19 million, making it potentially the most valuable Lincoln penny ever created, and the absolutely mind-blowing part is that this coin was minted just 20 years ago during your lifetime, during an era of smartphones and social media and advanced technology, which means it could literally be anywhere right now. In a forgotten piggy bank, in a jar of change sitting on someone's dresser, mixed in with regular pennies at a bank, or even still circulating hand-to-hand in everyday commerce. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, most people would never give it a second glance, and that's precisely what makes this treasure hunt so thrilling and so accessible to everyone watching right now. The year 2006 was a standard production year for the United States Mint, with billions of Lincoln pennies being struck at both the Philadelphia facility, which produces coins with no mint mark, and the Denver facility, which produces coins with the D mint mark below the date. The 2006 pennies featured the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been in use since 1959, showing the memorial building with tiny columns and a figure of Abraham Lincoln seated inside, barely visible but definitely there if you look closely enough. Under normal circumstances, these 2006 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, and you'd need tens of thousands of them just to buy a decent dinner. But among those billions of ordinary coins, something absolutely catastrophic happened during the minting process at one of the facilities, creating what numismatists now call the 2006 Ultimate Error Penny, a coin that exhibits not just one error, not just two errors, but a combination of multiple spectacular errors occurring simultaneously on the same coin. This is the numismatic equivalent of being struck by lightning 3 times in the same day. The odds are so astronomical, so impossibly remote, that the very existence of these coins defies belief, and yet they're real, they're out there, and they're worth $19 million to the right collector. So what exactly makes this 2006 Lincoln penny so incredibly special and valuable? Let me walk you through the era characteristics in detail, because understanding what you're looking for is the first step toward potentially finding one of these treasures yourself. The ultimate era 2006 Lincoln penny exhibits what's called a quadruple die obverse, meaning the design on the front of the coin was struck 4 separate times by dies that were slightly misaligned with each iteration, creating a quadrupling effect that's absolutely stunning to see in person. Imagine looking at Lincoln's portrait and seeing 4 overlapping images of his profile, each one offset just enough to create this incredible layered, almost three-dimensional appearance that seems to shimmer and shift as you tilt the coin under light. The date, 2006, appears 4 times, stacked and spread in a way that creates this bold, dramatic presentation that's impossible to miss once you know what you're looking at. The word Liberty shows such extreme quadrupling that the letters appear to be jumping off the surface of the coin, creating depth and dimension that's truly spectacular. The motto, "In God We Trust," displays quadrupling so pronounced that each word seems to have been stamped multiple times with different colored inks, except of course there's no ink, it's all metal displacement creating shadows and highlights that fool the eye into seeing colors that aren't really there. But the quadruple die obverse is just the beginning of what makes this coin extraordinary. It also features what's called an OFF center strike, meaning the coin blank wasn't properly aligned with the dies when it was struck, resulting in the design being shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a blank crescent of unstruck planchet on the opposite edge. This off-center characteristic is usually measured as a percentage. A 5% off-center strike means the design is shifted just slightly, while a 50% off-center strike means half the design is missing entirely, shifted off the edge of the coin. The ultimate era 2006 Lincoln pennies that command the $19 million prices are those with approximately 15 to 25% off-center strikes, which is the sweet spot where you have enough design visible to clearly identify the coin and appreciate the quadruple die error, while also having a dramatic enough off-center appearance to make the coin visually stunning and obviously mint-made rather than damaged. But wait, we're still not done describing this incredible error, because the ultimate 2006 Lincoln penny also exhibits what's called a wrong planchet error, meaning it was struck on a coin blank intended for a completely different denomination. In the most valuable examples, the 2006 Lincoln penny design was struck on a dime planchet made of copper nickel clad rather than the zinc core with copper plating that's used for normal pennies, resulting in a coin that's smaller in diameter than a normal penny but thicker and made of different metal, with different weight and different appearance. The wrong planchet error is incredibly rare by itself because the mint has elaborate systems to prevent blanks from different denominations getting mixed together, but when you combine it with a quadruple die obverse and an off-center strike, you're talking about a perfect storm of errors that should theoretically be impossible, and yet somehow, miraculously, it happened. And a tiny number of these coins made it through quality control and into circulation before anyone noticed. Expert numismatists estimate that perhaps only 2 to 4 examples of this ultimate error combination exist in the entire world, with possibly only one in pristine uncirculated condition graded MS-69 or MS-70, making it literally rarer than almost any other collectible object you could name. When you have something this rare, this spectacular, this historically significant, the value becomes almost theoretical because there's no real market. You can't just look up recent sales and determine a fair price when the coin only comes up for auction once every decade or two, if that. The $19 million valuation is based on a combination of factors including what ultra-wealthy collectors have privately indicated they'd be willing to pay, what similar ultra-rare era coins have sold for in recent years, and the trajectory of the rare coin market overall, which has been on an absolute tear over the past decade with no signs of slowing down. When the finest known example of the 2006 Ultimate Era Lincoln penny last came up for auction, the final hammer price was never publicly disclosed because it sold in a private treaty sale before the auction even took place, but informed sources within the numismatic community suggest the price was well into 8 figures, potentially approaching or exceeding $20 million when you factor in the buyer's premium and other costs. This creates an aura of mystery and exclusivity around the coin that only enhances its desirability and drives the perceived value even higher, because now it's not just a rare coin, it's a secret rare coin, a treasure that exists in the shadows known only to a privileged few, and that mystique is incredibly powerful in the world of high-end collectibles. The authentication process for a 2006 Lincoln Penny claiming to have this ultimate error combination is exhaustive and intensive, involving multiple experts, weeks or months of examination, and a battery of tests to verify every single aspect of the coin's authenticity. The grading services don't just look at the coin and assign a grade, they conduct metallurgical analysis to confirm the planchet composition, they measure the exact weight down to the milligram, they photograph the coin under various wavelengths of light to reveal details invisible to the naked eye, they compare the die markers to known genuine examples, they examine the edge for signs of artificial manipulation or alteration, and they consult with the leading error coin specialists in the country to get multiple opinions before rendering a final verdict. This process can cost thousands of dollars even before certification, but when you're potentially dealing with a $19 million coin, those costs are trivial, barely worth mentioning, because what you're buying is absolute certainty, irrefutable proof that what you have is real and authentic and worthy of that astronomical valuation. The certified coin, encapsulated in its tamper-evident holder with its unique serial number and pedigree information, becomes not just a collectible but a financial instrument, something that can be insured, borrowed against, used as collateral, or sold with complete confidence to the most discriminating collectors anywhere in the world. The market for the 2006 Ultimate Error Lincoln Penny exists at the very highest levels of numismatics, where transactions involve private banking relationships, confidentiality agreements, and sophisticated financial structures that most people never see or even know exist. When one of these coins changes hands, it's not happening on eBay or at a local coin shop, it's happening in mahogany-paneled boardrooms, in private auction galleries with invitation-only attendance, in communications between collectors who've built relationships over decades of dealing. The buyers at this level are typically ultra-high net worth individuals with liquid assets in the hundreds of millions or billions, people for whom spending $19 million on a rare penny is not a financial hardship but rather a strategic acquisition that brings prestige, enjoyment, and potential appreciation. These collectors aren't thinking about reselling the coin next month or even next year, they're thinking generationally, acquiring treasures that will be centerpieces of their collections for the rest of their lives and potentially passed down to their children and grandchildren as priceless family heirlooms. The 2006 Lincoln Penny represents the absolute pinnacle of what's achievable in modern era coin collecting, the Mount Everest that every serious collector dreams of climbing but very few will ever actually reach, and the existence of such a coin inspires and energizes the entire hobby because it proves that anything is possible, that miracles can happen, that extraordinary treasures can still be found if you're knowledgeable and persistent and lucky. Now, having said all of this about the rarefied world of $19 million pennies, I want to bring things back down to earth and talk about what this means for you, the person watching this video right now, the person who might have jars or boxes or bags of pennies sitting around your house. The beautiful thing about the 2006 Lincoln Penny story is that while the ultimate error combination is incredibly rare, there are other 2006 error pennies that are far more common and still quite valuable. We're talking about coins worth hundreds or thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, coins that you could legitimately find in circulation or in accumulated change. A 2006 penny with just a minor double die on the obverse, no other errors, might be worth $50 to $200 depending on condition. A 2006 penny with a noticeable off-center strike, maybe 10 to 15%, could be worth several hundred to a few $1,000s. A 2006 penny struck on a wrong planchet, even without the other errors, could be worth $5,000 to $10,000 or more. So even if you never find that ultimate $19 million error, you could still find something valuable, something significant, something that makes checking your pennies absolutely worth the time and effort. And here's the thing. Every single person who's ever found a valuable error coin started exactly where you are right now, knowing little or nothing about coins, just going about their daily life until something sparked their curiosity and they started paying attention. The retired teacher who found a valuable double-die penny in her change jar and sold it for $30,000, the college student who discovered an off-center strike in a roll from the bank and used the proceeds to pay off student loans, the construction worker who inherited a small coin collection and found a valuable error worth enough to buy a new truck. These are real people with real stories. People just like you who got lucky because they knew what to look for and took the time to look. The 2006 Lincoln Penny, whether we're talking about the $19 million ultimate error or the more modest but still valuable lesser errors, represents opportunity, represents possibility, represents the very real chance that your financial situation could change dramatically just by examining the coins you already have in your possession. So here's what I want you to do right now, today, as soon as you finish this video, I want you to gather up every single 2006 penny you can find and examine them carefully. Get yourself a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe with at least 10x magnification, find a good light source, and look at each coin individually, taking your time, checking the obverse for any signs of doubling or tripling or quadrupling, checking to see if the strike is centered properly or if there's any blank space on one side indicating an off-center strike, weighing the coin if you have a precise scale to see if it might be on a wrong planchet, noting anything unusual or different or just off about the coin's appearance. Don't assume that a coin is worthless just because it looks worn or dirty. Some of the most valuable error coins have been found in circulated condition, and while they're not worth as much as pristine uncirculated examples, they can still be worth substantial money, certainly enough to justify spending a few minutes examining your pennies. And if you find something that looks promising, something that exhibits clear errors or unusual characteristics, don't just assume you've won the lottery. Get it authenticated by a professional, either by taking it to a reputable local coin dealer for an initial opinion or by sending it directly to PCGS or NGC for official grading and certification, because you want to know for certain what you have before you start making plans for that money. The 2006 Lincoln Penny story is ultimately a story about hope, about the enduring appeal of treasure hunting, about the democratic nature of opportunity in the rare coin market, and about the simple but powerful truth that extraordinary things can hide in ordinary places if you just know where to look. This $19 million penny proves that dreams can come true, that regular people can stumble into life-changing wealth, that paying attention and educating yourself can literally pay off in the most spectacular way imaginable. So take this knowledge, use it, apply it, go through your pennies with fresh eyes and new understanding, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person to discover one of these incredible treasures. Maybe your story will be the one that inspires the next video, the next article, the next wave of excited collectors searching through their change with hope in their hearts. The 2006 Lincoln Penny worth $19 million is out there somewhere, and until it's found and verified and added to someone's collection, it could be anywhere, could be in anyone's possession, could be your ticket to a completely different life, and that possibility, that tantalizing chance, is what makes coin collecting the most exciting, most accessible, most rewarding treasure hunt in the world. So get out there, start searching, stay curious, stay educated, and never stop believing that magic can happen, because in the world of rare coins, it happens more often than you might think, and the next miracle could have your name on it.